Welcome, everyone. In this presentation, I will critically examine my learning journey in EDR 8206. I'll explore how my role has evolved from a theoretical observer into an active, reflexive qualitative researcher, bridging the gap between my initial preconceptions and the dynamic reality of meaning making. The fundamental purpose of lection is to look back at where I started several weeks ago and map out my growth. Entering this doctoral course, my understanding of qualitative inquiry was almost entirely theoretical and heavily reliant on highly structured, predictable methodologies. This reflection serves to bridge the gap between those early technical preconceptions and my current understanding of qualitative analysis as a deeply interpretive and dynamic process of meaning making. What caused this shift? It wasn't just reading textbooks. The change was driven by direct immersion in qualitative data, the disciplined practice of reflexive journaling, and deep engagement with methodological frameworks. Over the past several weeks, these elements completely altered my perspective, moving me away from looking at data mechanically toward embracing the complex reality of human narratives. In qualitative research, we cannot just follow a rigid, step-by-step checklist. We have to get comfortable with things being messy and uncertain at first. Instead of just sorting words into simple boxes, our job is to build a meaningful story that truly respects and reflects the real-life experiences of the people we study. It is hard work, it takes a lot of effort, and it is all about understanding humans. When I started this course, I thought qualitative analysis was just a mechanical data reduction exercise, like a matching game where I was a passive archivist sorting raw data. Now, I understand that themes don't just magically jump out of the text on their own. It's a creative, iterative process in which the researcher actively engages with the data to derive meaning. Qualitative work goes way deeper than counting how many times a word is used. We have to read between the lines to find the latent meanings behind a participant's words. To keep this rigorous, we must always factor in the socio-cultural context of our participants and use tools like peer debriefing to make sure our coding stays on track. As a new researcher, I had to confront my own biases. Based on my work experience, I assumed the problems I was studying were purely structural, such as heavy workloads. However, by keeping a reflexive journal, I realized that was too simplistic. The real issues were deeper, systemic things like isolation. I learned the vital importance of bracketing, setting aside my own assumptions so the true voices of participants guide the study. In qualitative research, we don't rely on detached tools like standardized tests or surveys. Instead, the researcher serves as the primary instrument. We don't view our own presence as background noise. Rather, qualitative work embraces our unique human perspective as a vital tool to uncover deep meanings that a checkbox survey could never capture. Because I am the instrument, my unique background, career history, and personal values naturally impact the study. It affects how I word questions, how I build rapport with participants, and how I read their stories. This isn't a bias we try to destroy. It's a definitive feature of qualitative inquiry, as long as we manage it with complete, rigorous honesty. To make sure our study is trustworthy, we use a framework called reflexivity. Think of it as a continuous, critical self-check. It means keeping a constant awareness of how my own presence, assumptions, and biases might be shifting the data. It's the formal process of evaluating who I am in relation to the people I am studying. How do we actually practice this? By keeping a reflexive journal throughout fieldwork and analysis to catch our own assumptions before they take over. This transparent paper trail ensures we hear the participants' authentic voices, while acknowledging that the final story is a collaborative construction between the researcher and the participants. The first pillar of trustworthiness under Lincoln and Guba's framework is credibility. A major challenge here is social desirability bias. Teachers might offer filtered or polite answers because they don't want to criticize their school administration or policies. To address this, I will build strong rapport in advance, use member checking so teachers can verify their own words, and triangulate the interviews with official district curriculum documents. Next is transferability. Qualitative research doesn't use statistics to generalize, so it can be hard for readers to know if my findings fit their schools. The solution is to provide thick description, meaning I will write out deep, rich details about the school settings, clearly explain my participant sample boundaries, and weave in plenty of real quotes so other educators can judge if the context matches theirs. The third pillar is dependability, which is all about consistency. Because coding is repetitive, a novice researcher can experience code drift, where your definitions accidentally change from the first transcript to the last. To stop this, I will keep a strict audit trail tracking how my codebook evolved, and use peer review to have a colleague double-check that my logic makes sense. Finally, we have confirmability, which focuses on neutrality. My own professional history might make me want to see things in the data that aren't actually there. To combat confirmation bias, I will practice continuous reflexive journaling to call out my own reactions, and I will ensure that every single assertion I make in my final paper is directly anchored to a verbatim participant quote. Let's look at the major rules I must follow to keep my analysis honest. First, I need an audit trail. Think of this like a diary of my homework. I document every single decision and code change so anyone looking at my work can see exactly how I got my results. Second, I have to look for disconfirming evidence. It's human nature to only pick quotes that prove I am right, but a good researcher actively searches for data that proves their initial ideas wrong. Lastly, I must use verbatim quotes. I want my final paper to be filled with the actual, exact words spoken by my participants so their real voices guide the study. Now for the traps we need to avoid. First, do not use pseudo-quantitative language. This just means avoiding math terms like 70% of participants or the majority felt this way. Qualitative research is about the deep meaning of a story, not how many times it happened. Second, don't divorce quotes from their context. Don't grab a cool-sounding sentence if the rest of the paragraph shows the participant actually meant something completely different. Lastly, do not leap to conclusions. If you make a claim in your findings, you must be able to point your finger directly at the text to prove it. No guessing allowed. To wrap everything up, let's talk about the conclusion and the real value of reflexivity. As a new researcher, the biggest lesson I learned is that qualitative research isn't a passive job where I just write down what people say. It is an active process where I help build the meaning. This means I am constantly battling my own personal biases and shifting my assumptions. Ultimately, reflexivity is my ultimate safety net. Instead of worrying that my personal feelings will ruin the study, being reflexive turns my unique viewpoint into a powerful tool. It forces me to keep questioning myself, which ensures the final story I tell is honest, ethical, and completely true to the real-life experiences of my participants.